Uh-oh. Hey, it's Jasmine Raekwon. I'm back in with another YouTube video. I don't know if y'all can tell what I did off camera. I don't know if y'all can tell what I did off camera, but I heard this the other day when I was at work, and I feel like, I don't know how I feel about it. I didn't hear the whole thing because I was, running around, blah, blah. But some of the parts I heard, I was like, what? I love people who are strongly opinionated, and I like to see how their opinion affects my opinion. I feel like I'm someone who constantly contradicts themselves, but that's just because I'm constantly learning and, Anyway, I digress. Let me get back to the video. I didn't even start the video, and I'm saying let me get back to the video. And I'm just staring at myself. Look at my eyes. Lord. Okay, come on. Let's get into it.
2024 Republican presidential candidate, Larry Elder. Welcome, brother.
Thank you so much for having me. It is an honor.
How you feeling?
I feel good.
He does more than that, though. I mean, he was a radio host.
Radio host for 40 years.
Author, TV.
Charlemagne looks more and more like a mannequin every day. I love Charlemagne, though.
Southeast corner, just saying.
Okay.
I didn't know he had a star in Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah, about a handful of radio guys do, and I'm one of them.
Yeah,
we don't care.
Elvis Duran, Howard Stern, Big Boy. Oh, Angie Martinez.
A guy named Arthur Godfrey.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's jump right into it. Why are you running for president?
Well, I'm running as an America First mega guy, and we have an America First mega guy running, obviously. So the question is, what do you bring to the table?
You said MAGA.
MAGA.
Okay.
And the answer is, I bring a lot of issues to the table that I feel our side is not talking enough about, if at all. For example, the number one social problem in America, by far, is the epidemic not of COVID, but of fatherlessness. 70% of Black kids today enter the world without a father in the home, married to the mother, up from 25% back in 1965. Okay. Now 25% of white kids enter the world today without a father in the home, married to the mother. And the stats are clear. Even Barack Obama once cited them. If you're raised...
Okay, I agree that a child should have both parents in the home, but I don't think that... I feel like if someone grew up with a single parent, they would still come out perfectly fine. I don't understand. Like, of course the child would want both of their parents, but if they just so happen to not have them, I feel like they would still come out great. They can still come out great. I don't know. And he's like cited from Barack Obama. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like they use examples from people who they know are loved and likable, and they try to use that and get some like credibility from it, like in the way that they're speaking. What do they call that? Isn't there like logos, pathos, ethos? It's one of those that they doing, and I don't like it.
A lot of dads are 5 times more likely to be poor and commit crime, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, and 20 times more likely to end up in jail. What's happened? In the mid-60s, with I think the best of intentions, a Democrat named Lyndon Johnson launched what he called the War on Poverty. And since then, we have incentivized women to marry the government and incentivize men to abandon their financial and moral responsibility. You know, when I say this to people, the pushback I get is, well, there are lots of things that are going on, systemic racism, poverty. Here's the problem. If you look at a young Black male aged 10 to 43, that's young to me because I'm 71 years old. A young Black man in that demo is 13
Black don't crack.
times more likely
He don't
to be
look
murdered
that
than
old.
a young white man, same demo. Young Black man, real young, 19 and under, the number one cause of preventable death is homicide, almost always at the hands of another young Black male. Same demo for whites, the number one cause of preventable death is unintentional deaths. That includes drug overdoses, automobile accidents, drownings. It's not until they get to number 4 that death is the cause. In America, 60% of the shootings, the robberies, and the homicides are committed by Black people, often against other Black people. Of the homicides in this country, half of them are
I'm just
Black
doing
victims,
my eyes like that because they're
almost all
dry.
killed by other Blacks. How do you explain that if it isn't for the absence of fathers? Are you prepared to say Black people are just genetically inclined to commit more crime? I doubt it. And the go-to reaction often is
I feel like the reason why is literally because the system, I do believe that there is systematic racism. I do believe that we were placed in these hoods or urban areas, whatever you want to call it, so that we can continue to do this to ourselves because that is all that we know. Do I feel like it's because they didn't have a dad? Maybe. No. I feel like because it's a such thing as systematic racism, and that's why this happens, and that's why these statistics are the way that they are.
Poverty and systemic racism. Here's the problem. 1940, when there was blatant racism, this is before Brown versus Board of Education, before the Civil Rights Act of 64, KKK was still alive and well, 87% of blacks lived under the poverty line. Now it's about 14%. You can't blame it on poverty, you can't blame it on racism. It is the breakdown of the nuclear intact family, and neither side is talking about it. The left doesn't talk about it because they caused it with the welfare state, and our side does not talk about it because if you're white, you'll be accused of dissing single moms who are heroically raising these kids, or you'll be accused of being a racist, or if you're black, you'll be accused, as I was by the LA Times, of being the black face of white supremacy. Nobody's talking about that. I am.
What are the reasons, if
they call this guy the black face of white supremacy? Oh my God.
If your statistics are right, what are the reasons that you think fathers aren't in the home?
As I said, it's because in the mid-60s, Lyndon Johnson launched what he called the War on Poverty. In Charlemagne, literally, they sent social workers door to door in the inner city. I remember this, advising women of the availability of welfare provided there was no man in the house. It created an economic incentive for women to marry the government. Same thing with whites. In 1965, 8% of whites entered the world without a father in the home, married to the mother. Now it's about 25%, also up threefold. Look at census data, 1910, 1920, 1930.
I can tell that he's 70 because he called them whites. I don't know. The way that he's speaking is just like, I don't know. Like, this is not 2023 lingo. Like, you can't say stuff like this in 2023. You can't. You're gonna get canceled. But there's probably gonna be a lot of people who agree with him, and a lot of people who really are like hard pass, don't agree with anything that he's saying.
Like Milwaukee, Chicago, Philadelphia, a young black kid was slightly more likely to be brought into a world with a father in the home married to the mother than a young white kid. We have incentivized this kind of bad behavior, and it's had a disproportionately bad effect on the black community.
Let me ask you a question. What do white people do wrong, Larry?
What do you mean, what do white people do? I'm not worried about white people. I'm worried about what's going on with us.
But if there's systemic...
He said he's not worried about white people, but he's trying to be president. There's so many different... Okay. I'm gonna just...
Racism in this country, which we know it is.
No, I don't say there is. You say there is. I don't believe that.
Oh, you don't believe this?
No, there used to be, obviously. Tell me what you think
There used to be systematic racism, but I don't believe it is anymore. How not? What life? Okay, this dude, that to me sounds crazy. I guess I'm one of those hard left people. Let's see. And I don't mean right or left as in like Republican, Democrat. I mean like
just give me the most important one you think.
At the top of mind, I'll probably maybe say mass incarceration. Maybe.
Really? During the Great Depression,
and I'm not watching this whole thing because this is already like
you didn't have this kind of mass incarceration.
Hella controversial.
I'm not going to. I agree with the family part. I'm a black man who is a father to his children, and I'm a happily married black man to a black woman. So I'm never going to argue with that part, But I just feel like everything is black with you. Black is wrong. Black people do this and black people do that. And when I ask you what white people do wrong, you said you're not worried about white people at all.
I'm talking about the damage, disproportionate damage going on in the black community. For example, look at these smash and grabs that are taking place in Los Angeles, where I live. There's a suburb called Glendale, where at a mall recently, a mob of 30 to 40 people, they had masks on, but one guy got popped. He was a black. And I think most of those who were doing this were black. And in recent years and times, there have been a number of these in places like Chicago, places like New York. If I were involved in something like that, Charlemagne, I grew up with a dad, just as you're raising your own children. I would have been more afraid of my father than I would about the cops catching me. These kids are afraid of neither. They don't have a father in the home. Cops are demoralized. They're pulling back. Their manpower is short. And as a result, you tell a bad guy you're less likely to be caught, convicted, incarcerated, crime goes up. They may be criminals, but they're not stupid. When you say, what do white people do? I mean, this is a country that has struggled mightily to get over its historic racism. There was a civil war. There was a big civil rights movement. This is the only majority white country that's ever elected a black president, let alone re-elected a black president. The three biggest
He said it like we're supposed to be grateful or something. Like, what?
cities in America are New York, Chicago, LA. They all have black mayors, even though no city has a majority of black population. The president of Harvard is a black female. Martin Luther King in 1966, Charlemagne.
And like, let's keep in mind that the reason why I honestly, truly do believe that the reason why all these people are where they are is just so that people could say that they are where they are. Like, so that we won't complain. Like, oh, you have one black woman in the Supreme Court. You should be fine. Trump is great. You should be fine. Or even like what he's talking about. Like, that, why the fact that we're even having the conversation about somebody of a specific race being in a specific position already lets you know how disproportionate it was and still is for black people in the first place. Think about it. I'm about to turn this shit off.
Gave an interview to the BBC. This is
I
2
gotta do
years
this
after
in
the
parts.
Civil Rights Act of 64 got passed.
I'm
And he said,
gonna let it hit 15.
I'm amazed at how many positive changes there have been in America in the last 2 years. Why, if things keep going like this, we could have a black president in about 40 years' time. Do the math. Right on cue, Barack Obama, elected 2008. He didn't say there'll be a black female president of Harvard, and there has been. He didn't say there are going to be black CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, and there have been several. He didn't say the percentage of the House would equal the percentage of black people in the population, and it does. He didn't say the 3 largest cities would have black mayors, and they do. He didn't say the largest and most prestigious organization of doctors, the American Medical Association, would have 2 black presidents, and there have been. He didn't say the most prestigious organization of lawyers, the American Bar Association, would have 2 black presidents, and they have. He said president, meaning at that point, I can feel that I've reached the mountaintop, which is the speech he gave right before he got assassinated, the day before. And now we act as if Barack Obama never even got elected. And we're still talking about systemic racism. It's not fair, it's wrong, and you're discouraging black people from working hard. 1990s.
Okay. Mr. Elder, a quick question. Let's just remove the word racism, since that seems to be a word that triggers, a conversation down the water hole. Let's just focus on the word system.
Okay.
You mentioned that the system was the one that discouraged. And again, we have no problem with agreeing that the family, the black family, should certainly has some room for some improvement. But let's just focus on system.
Room for improvement?
System,
I like Tesla.
well, we're not going to go down that water.
I like that
We're not
name,
going to go down
too.
that water hole. Let's get to the question. So the question is, you said that the system encouraged black women to be single mothers, correct?
I said the welfare state, yes.
The welfare, the system. So who's in charge of the system? Who was in charge of the system?
Well, it was Democrats that passed it.
And who were Democrats? Were they black or white at that time?
Well, at the time, majority of black.
It's crazy too because white people are still the majority. They're the ones who are mostly their group have the most people on welfare. So this whole conversation to me is like irrelevant, because like he doesn't like. Does he know what going? Does he know? Is he here? Are we living the same life?
Were Democrats as a majority of black
No,
people?
no,
Are Democrats
not the
Why aren't they
voters.
having
I'm
the
talking
problem?
about the system. Remember, the main idea is the word system. Who
Who
was in charge of the system at the time? The Democrats at the time. The system.
Like, come on.
I'm just going to Charlemagne's point about white or black. Was it white Democrats in charge of the system or black Democrats in charge of the system?
Well, if you're prepared to say that Lyndon Johnson did this viciously with an intent to destroy the black family, I disagree. He did it with the best of intentions. And if you look at the New York Times, which is left wing, the Washington Post, which is left wing, they cheered all of this.
Right, and what I'm asking was, if white people, so I'm going to ask again in case my mic's not coming through clearly, was it white people in charge of the system or black people in charge of that system that helped break down the black family? It's a simple yes, just a simple question, white or black?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you didn't have to go on welfare unless you voluntarily chose to go on welfare. The inducement was put there by Democrats, by the left.
Correct? Okay. White Democrats.
Well, most black people were Democrats, and they voted for these white people.
Not
too.
voters. I said who's in charge of the system?
Well, who puts them in charge?
Was Lyndon Johnson white or black?
I'm not gonna lie, Tesla is She eating right now. Eat him up. Go ahead.
Who put them in
Maybe
charge?
that'll help.
Eat him
Fine.
up. Get him.
Lyndon Johnson was white.
Get
Thank
him.
Okay.
Get him.
But if your argument is that the
Good
reason he did it
lawyer.
is because
Get
of
him.
racism, then I
No.
disagree. He did it because of
That's not my argument. I just asked you a simple question. Was he white or black? Charlamagne?
And you know, Ms. Elder, you said you talked about.
She said it
the
back to
smash
you.
and grabs,
I'm
right?
done.
And I find that interesting because
Get the camera
when
off
you
me.
see the mass shootings that happen, majority of those people are white males. What do you think about that?
Actually, if you look at the percentage of whites in America, which is 60%, the percentage of
now
mass
he wants
shooters
to
is
look at
under that.
percentage.
The percentage of people that commit hate crime is under that. The percentage of people who are serial killers is under that. Black people are 13% of the population. We commit a greater percentage compared to that
But no,
of
you
mass
specifically
shootings.
talked about the smash and grabs, though. So I was saying, since you're using that as an example, I'm saying, well, what about the mass shooters?
He
that are
said, so back to
usually
what I was
What-
talking
males?
about, because I don't know
one
what
more
you're
time,
talking
they're
about.
usually white males because 60% of the country is white. However, they underrepresent in terms of the number of mass shootings.
He sounds
About
like
50% or so of the mass
white.
shootings in this country are committed by white people, even though white people are 60% of the population. They underrepresent. We overrepresent when it comes to hate crime, when it comes to mass shootings, when it comes to serial killings, when it comes to robberies, when it comes to virtually every category of violent crime. We overrepresent.
So what do white people do
I thought I
wrong?
just saw a monkey.
We
That
keep
just scared the
asking
shit
that.
out of me. I'm like,
Well,
what the hell?
well, you, it,
Bro,
seems,
I'm bugging.
it seems to me,
I
rather
gotta
than
turn
deal
this
with
shit off.
what's going on, the pathology that's going on in the inner city, you want me to talk about how bad white people are,
No, I'm
which I
saying
don't think
that there's a cause and
which
effect.
I don't think is a particularly productive thing to do.
Well, I think that-
No,
I'm
no,
talking.
I
I'm
think
talking.
there's a-
My mama said I can go outside.
the cause and effect, but if we can't talk about the cause, which I believe is systemic racism and white supremacy, the FBI said.
Well, I just told you, if it's systemic racism, please explain to me how it was when America really had systemic racism in 1940. 87% of blacks lived under the poverty line. Again, this is during Jim Crow era.
Bro, we are in a Great Depression right now, okay? They don't want to tell y'all because they don't want to scare you, but that's what's going on. Inflation and jobs not paying anything. Nobody able to own a house. Eggs being like $14. Something's not right. Something's not right. Bro, not a recession, a Great Depression. Okay, bye. Let me give y'all an actual outro. Like this video, give it a big thumbs up. I already told y'all what I did off camera, so if my energy is off, that's why. It's not even off. It's like, I don't know. I'm gonna watch it back when I'm sober and we'll see. But am I gonna, or am I just gonna post it now and be wild? I think I'm gonna post it now and be wild and then see you in the morning. Anyway, it is the morning, actually. Grand Rising, Queen. Anyway, if you like this video, nothing's gonna happen. You're just gonna like it. And I'm gonna probably do another part to this when I'm like not in the clouds. So I love you guys. Thank you for watching. If you watched this to the end, thank you for supporting me. Have a good day. Bye.